All right, folks, so we move on. We touched the topic earlier in the hot topics. The Ministry of Health has issued a flu alert cautioning Jamaicans to take the virus very seriously as there is an increase in the number of patients with symptoms, including fever and respiratory complications. So here to talk to us about all of this and help us, I guess, to take precaution, family physician and Health Plus Associates, Dr. Orville Nemard. Morning, sir.
Morning.
Welcome to Smile Jamaica.
Thank you.
Whoa, that sounds like there's plenty of things going on, but flu just not a very ordinary little thing that you get and you get rid of quite quickly?
Yes and no. We do have flu outbreaks every year, usually in the colder months between September and about March, April. And that's what we call seasonal flu. However, every year we do have fatalities from the flu.
Which is what shocked me. And Doc told us before we came on that in the United States, as many as 50,000 die from flu.
Every year.
Every year?
Every year.
From regular flu?
From regular flu.
Dengue and flu is the same thing?
No, not at all. They're two different viruses. Flu, what we call flu, is influenza virus, of which there are three types. Types A, B, and C. A and B are the ones we worry about. Dengue is caused by flavivirus, different set of stuff altogether.
Just before Delia, you told me you don't have numbers in Jamaica,
right,
but people die from flu in Jamaica?
Yes, that's correct.
Every year?
Every year. And
or
we
complications
see it
from
flu, right. And we see it more in the extremes of life, those under 5 and those over 65, and those who have underlying illnesses. So the asthmatics, persons with heart failure, diabetes, that sort of stuff.
This is serious. So when we say flu, because sometimes you hear, I have fever, or I have a cold, or I have flu. We use the terms interchangeably. So when we're saying the flu, Doc, what are we calling the flu?
All right. We use the term very loosely.
Yes.
And strictly speaking, flu is what's caused by an infection with one of those influenza viruses.
Okay.
But you have cold viruses, which can give you similar symptoms. Persons with even sinus infections can have a crossover of symptoms. We talk about dengue having flu-like symptoms as well. So the symptomatology across the board is not always so easy to distinguish. But if you're talking about flu, then you're talking about infection with one of the influenza viruses. And that often requires laboratory investigations. We don't usually go through that. For most viral infections, the treatment is symptomatic, as very often there isn't specific treatment for the virus. So you're looking at controlling the aches and pains and fever, making sure the patient is rehydrated. And most of them will run their course without a problem within a week or two. It's on certain occasions that you will find complications. And some of those complications can be significant, as we see with flu and as we also see with dengue.
You said there are two types?
Three types of flu virus.
What are they?
A, B, and C.
Okay.
A and B are the ones that cause infections in the seasons. C, we see year-round, and it tends to be milder. A, the significance of A is that animals are also affected with A. And those are the ones that can cross over to humans. So that's why you hear people talking about bird flu and swine flu and so on. Yeah.
I know you'll correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember hearing an alert about flu, or like regular flu. I hear that there's epidemic in this, but if that is so, what's going on now? Why it seems to be more than...
Well, no, we have actually had alerts in the past. I don't know if you remember, some years ago we talked about the H1N1 outbreak, and there was a huge rush on vaccines which we had at the time.
That's flu?
Yes, flu. Right. So this year, yes, there is an alert. There was something out of the US a few weeks ago in which they were beginning to see a peak in their flu season. And literally and figuratively, when the US sneezes, we catch cold. So it's no surprise that we're beginning to see something as an increase as well.
You were saying that basically it just run its course.
Most times.
So it's not that you get a little thing and you run go buy something and you go and get rid of it immediately?
No, not at all. Most viral infections, we don't have specific treatment. There is specific treatment for flu, but I don't think it's available in Jamaica. And for those that are, you need to start it like within 48 hours. And there are some issues with respect to the efficacy. At this point, the best prevention actually is the vaccine.
I know, and you said it because of the weather. So at times, in America and Canada and so on, they'll say, flu season is coming, come get your flu shots.
Right.
Do we have flu shots here in Jamaica?
Yes, we do. We do.
Okay.
It is available. Unfortunately, we're not a needle people, so people don't come in for the vaccines as a routine, even though we encourage. It's only when there is an alert like this that people tend to perk up. A few years ago, when there was the H1N1 alert, we couldn't bring in the vaccine fast enough. Since that, because there hasn't been the alert, we bring in the vaccines and we have to be begging people to come in to get it.
So even as an adult, if I feel like I'm getting the flu, the vaccine will work for me?
No, if you're getting it, it's kind of too late. You need to get it at least 2 weeks before for the immunity to kick
So that
in.
come here, no, me get it 2 weeks later.
Flu
Preempt
season.
it.
Flu season.
Flu season.
So you need to know when it's flu season, which is September through to about March, April. I take my flu vaccine every year, and I'm usually first in line
And it
to get it.
works?
It's not 100%. Let me explain why. The season is like September through to March, as I said.
Right.
In December, before that, the experts sit down and decide which strains of the virus they think are going to come.
Okay.
And then they manufacture. So right now, manufacturing is probably just about starting for the
So
season
you might
to
take
come.
you might take a vaccine that don't work for that.
So what you may have,
Yeah.
when they get it right, then you have a very effective vaccine. When they don't get it right,
Okay.
then they
You already said that flu and dengue is not
Right.
not the same, but it seems like some of the symptoms.
some
could
of
be
the symptoms,
confused.
yes.
How I know? How I know that if I start running nose and stuff, is not dengue?
All right. Dengue usually doesn't have a lot of the respiratory symptoms. That is the cough, the runny nose, and so forth. But it will have common things such as the fever, the headache, maybe some amount of joint pain as well.
So how I know?
You may not. And even sometimes the practitioner may not.
Which
Because
would
the
suggest-
symptomatology
Which would
overlaps.
suggest that even though you said the flu will run its course, if I kind of feel so, I should go doctor.
Not necessarily, because for the most part, even with dengue, most persons will recover without an issue.
Most.
Most, yes. It's only the few that do develop the complications that you do need to spend some time and energy on.
Yeah. I know normally persons at higher risk, infants, young children, adults 60 years and older, pregnant women, is it because their immune systems are more compromised?
Yes, essentially, yes.
Okay.
And very often they have concomitant illnesses and they don't have as much reserve. So if it is that they get a secondary infection on top of that, then they're more likely to succumb.
Doc, what's the final word? Tell the folks what they need to do in case.
Prevention.
Always better than cure.
Yes.
But
So,
prevention in this case means what? Because I don't have the flu, so how are we
well, the best prevention is actually the vaccine. Outside of that, what you can do is avoid the hands touching mouth, eyes, that's so-called mucous membranes, and in sneezing and coughing, don't cough into the hands. The advice has been to cough or sneeze into the crook of the arm. Avoid handshaking, because that's how it gets spread. And if it is that you do come down with something, take something for the pain and fever, lots of fluids, get some rest, and sit tight.
How easy it is to be passed on. So I come to work and I'm coughing a little bit.
Very. We talk
Very.
about, yes, it is spread by droplet. So we talk about the infectious distance being 2 to 3 feet, which is the conversational distance.
Wow.
So, and up to a day or so before I'm even aware I have it, I can be passing it on. And up to a week after I have symptoms, I can also be passing it on.
Yeah.
Oh, so stay home are the best thing.
Which is why they say when you have it, avoid contact, stay home, fluids rest.
Don't share it.
Yeah.
Them say enough for run joke on illness. I mean, I got better run it.
No, no run it.
When my value please.
I have it.
Doc, thanks very much. Thanks
My
very
pleasure.
much. It's almost scary though, you know. As simple as it sounds like it could be.
The thing is, the vast majority of us go through this without an issue. I mean, for all the years you've been living, you would have had flu seasons every year, for which you'd have survived and had flus without there being
But
an
when
issue.
you hear that there's an alert, it gets a little scary though, don't it?
Well, it just says that we need to be paying attention.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks
and
a
to
lot.
do what we need to as far as prevention.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot, sir.
My pleasure.
We can get the vaccine from, you just go to any
Well,
doctor or go hospital, where you can get it.
I see where the ministry said they brought in some. Certainly in my practice, we start the vaccine. I don't know if most practitioners do, but it is available.
All right. Family physician and Health Plus Associates, which would be where?
Boulevard Supercenter.
There you go. Dr. Orville Neman. Thanks a lot, sir.
All right, stay with us. We've got a fun stop for Neville's age group right after this.